talking unless y'all giving me land and 2,000 or more every week. You hear me?
I'm not talking unless y'all giving me likes and subscribing and commenting every video. You hear me? Hey, bitch, it's JamiThatsMe here. Welcome back to the channel. Listen, I am coming to you guys with a different bit of news. I will go ahead and say trigger warning for a lot of the things that we are about to talk about today, involving SAing of a child as well as death of children and more. Okay, so we are going to get into a few things, and the first thing that I do want to get into is Sonya Massey. All right, not sure if you guys remember Sonya Massey. She was unalived by the police, and let me just make sure I have the accurate police department. I feel like this may have taken place in I thought it was in Ohio, but I want to be sure. They're saying it's San Sangamon County. Okay, Sangamon County out in Illinois. All right. There was a video that went around. It was body cam footage, unfortunately, of Sonya, who passed away a few years ago. I feel like it may have been. What's that? I'm not. Let me just make sure I have that time right, because it seems so new. It seems like it may have been like over a year ago, but then it seems like it happened like just last year at the same time, so I just want to be sure. Okay, correct, it did happen last year. It's just crazy because everything's going by so fast. So Sonya Massey, she passed away on July 6th of 2024. Okay, she was unalived by a police officer by the name of Sean Grayson. Okay, they're saying that he was a white deputy. All right. And they did a call. I believe she called the police for them to come out to her home, I believe. Um, I think she called them. But what I do know was a result of when she was at home in her kitchen, she had like a pot in her hand. I guess she was like pouring out the hot water or something like that, because she had some stuff on the stove and they were telling her to cut the stove off or whatever it was. And the officer said something to Sonya for Sonya to say, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." Right. And so when she said that, she was pouring out, I guess, like the hot boiling water. And I believe when he first pulled the gun up at her, when he first pulled it up at her, she was kind of like, like, don't, like, oh no, don't, oh no. Right. And she said something about, "I think I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." He tried to say he took that as a threat, and then he ended up giving her a headshot. It was like, I've seen the video. It was so unnecessary. Like, whatever it was unnecessary. She didn't say anything, I feel, to disturb him, unless you were an evil spirit entering her home and she rebuked you in the name of Jesus, and that was your reaction to her. It was such a unnecessary death, and may she rest in peace. I'm glad her family is starting to receive some justice, but I just feel like it's not enough. I'm gonna be real honest with y'all. Like, I'm glad her family is receiving the justice that you know um they deserve for her, but I just feel like it's not enough. Now, they have made a decision to keep him in jail, Mr. Grayson. So, from my understanding, before we get into the latest updates with her, I just wanted to give a quick update on him as of the end of January. Okay, they're saying the Illinois Supreme Court rules to keep Sean Grayson in jail. All right, the former county sheriff's deputy accused of unaliving Sonya Massey will be staying in jail while the court weighs the case. Okay, they're saying that the Supreme Court will hear the state attorney's appeal to an appellate court ruling that the pretrial detention for Sean Grayson violates the Safety Act. That's going to suck if he is able to get out. They're saying in July, Grayson and his partner responded to Sonya's 911 call after she said she saw a prowler near her house. All right. Body camera footage shows when Grayson shot Massey, a black woman, in the head after she moved a pot of boiling water from her stove. He has been charged with a first degree murder, and he has pled not guilty. And with people like Mr. Who Okay, a 47 felon that they have in the office at this time. He would like to give people like this full immunity. All right, if you watch the video, she did absolutely nothing wrong. She wasn't even near him to pose any type of threat. He was not the only person on the scene. As you heard, he was there with a partner at the time. So he had his partner there. So if he had felt threatened in any way, you had your partner there. She had her hands full. You guys told her to get what was on her stove off the stove. She was pouring out a pot of hot boiling water. It resulted in a headshot. And what's also very interesting was the fact that she was the one that called y'all. And when you guys arrived to the scene, you treated her as though she was the problem when she was the one that was seeking for help to begin with. And it's so unfortunate. But the update now that we have is that her family has agreed to a $10 million settlement for the death of her. And when I hear family, my question is, what's family? Whose family? Who is considered that? Are you speaking of mom, dad, children? I thought she only had one son. He did come out and he was able to speak at a press conference. But I think that after the attorneys get their money, that boy should be the first one to get anything and hopefully the only one to get anything, you know? And I say that because, of course, he is an adult. And if anybody suffers the most, in my opinion, it would definitely be the son. And I'm not discounting what the parents and siblings or whatnot may have felt. But when they speak on, money being released after a person has passed and they've received these large settlements from the county or whatnot, my question is, and you guys, this is a serious question, so let me know in the comments if you're aware. How do they divvy that out? Of course, we know the attorneys are going to get their portion, but what portion? Who is next? I'm sure if she had a husband, which I don't believe she had, he probably would get something. But being that she didn't have a husband, but I believe her son was at least the age of 18, I would think. I believe he was. He would be the family that would get it. So is he going to get all of it, or is it going to go to parents and things of that nature? That's just what I was wondering at that time. But whatever it is, whatever the amount is, it's just really not enough. And you they probably are glad to get that because it's definitely going to help them with any financial woes that they may have, because after losing your mom, I can imagine the depression that he may have gone in, as far as the son and where he may still be and how hard things may be for him at this time and the family, So I'm sure 1000% that that money is going to help a lot. However, it's still super bittersweet because he's not going to get his mom back. They're not going to get their relative back. Like it's not going to happen, and I really feel for them. I hate that for them. But let's see what else they're saying here. The agreement was reached last week after mediation between lawyers representing both parties, according to a resolution posted by the county. All right. They said the settlement was unanimously approved by the board and they're moving forward with things. So I think that, I mean, congratulations on getting that money. But I still feel for them because they don't have their relative. And it was just so fucking unnecessary. And the other factor is the case still isn't it. The trial's not over. The case isn't over. They have to go to trial. They have to figure out what is going to be what, because now they're asking the Supreme Court to review this and to see whether or not, he's going to be able to, I guess, appeal this and I guess go free. But right now he was fired, jailed, and he's pleading not guilty. If you ask me, I don't think even if he were to get out, which I hope he doesn't, if he does get out, I don't think that he should be allowed to go and work for another station, another sheriff's office, another police station. I don't think that he should be able to work in those spaces, protect and serve. Come on now. Y'all went there and did not protect her at all. And it's a very unfortunate situation. But rest in peace to Sonya, Massey. And the family will be receiving a settlement very, very soon. Okay. So you guys can leave your thoughts on that below. But in the meantime, in between time, I do want us to go ahead and touch on another story. Trigger warning, this one definitely involves children, and this one is about a Detroit mother. Okay. And we are going to listen to a bit of audio as well on this. So let me I want to make sure that I got everything squared away. Okay. So first things first, there is a story that I did learn about, and it's out of Detroit. And what I learned was that there's a mother who lost two children, okay? And she actually, from my understanding, ended up being arrested. Actually, she was arrested due to two of her children dying, all right? And I really need you guys' thoughts on this, and let me know how you're feeling and whether you think that, this is okay, or whether you support it or you don't. So the mother was homeless, all right? She had five children. She was struggling to find housing and things, and they would sleep in a kind of like a van, I guess you'll say. It was a van, and they would go up to the casino's parking lot on like one of the top floors, and that's where they would sleep. All right. Recently, from my understanding, the car went out, stopped working for whatever reason. So, of course, they didn't have the heat, to keep themselves warm or whatever. So, they don't know if the car stopped working because of mechanical issues or if it had something to do with it being out of gas or whatever. But, they would sleep in the casino parking lot, in the casino's garage, parking garage. Unfortunately, two of those children died. Two of the children died. They were able to find or call a friend, get a friend to get over there to see about the two children. Because I believe when the mom woke up, she realized, one of the kids wasn't breathing, then realized another one wasn't. They got them to the hospital and the kids were pronounced dead. And from my understanding, it appears that they are going to be arresting the mother. And I just wonder if you guys think that she should be arrested because resources appear to be limited and she should be shown some grace, or if you feel like as a parent she put them in harm's way, and this is the end result of that. Okay, I want you guys to let me know your thoughts on that, but in the meantime, I do want us to get into a few stories, and I just want to make sure that I have them lined up here. Okay, so let us go ahead and check these out real quick. All right, as you can see, Detroit mayor wants review of homeless outreach strategy after kids freeze to death.
My cousin made a mistake, and look at how the world is judging her.
The cousin of the mother who took her 5 children and their grandmother to the 9th parking lot level of the Hollywood Casino early Monday morning. And when the gas ran out of their car, so did the heat. And 2 of her kids, a 9-year-old boy and a 2-year-old girl, froze to death.
She asked for help. She asked the right people. She was scared of what the world would think of her, so she did privately the right thing. She asked the city, and what they do, they told her they couldn't help her.
And the mayor acknowledged that because of this incident, he is asking the deputy mayor, as well as the housing director, to review this situation and then come back with policies to help those who need housing.
If during the day you are in danger of homelessness, you call the hotline. It's spelled in well-publicized 866-313-2520. But if it's after 6 o'clock at night and an incident's happened, you've been pushed out of the house, you're in an emergency situation, go to your police precinct.
That's what they say. So I gotta hear y'all thoughts on this one, honey, because I'm just like, I didn't like how he was trying to say, call the hotline. It's always available. It's out there for you. But what if they call the hotline ain't trying to help? What if they call the police precinct and the police precinct don't answer? Right? It seemed like she was already limited because she was running out of gas. But I guess the police would have at least gotten to her to be able to give her the assistance that she needed. And my question is this, right? If whether or not she may have been afraid of what would happen to her and her children being taken away from her if she cannot properly provide for them, right? And I'm kind of mixed because some part of me is like, well, if you can't take care of your kids, send them somewhere where they can be taken care of. But then at the same time, some people don't want their kids snatched away from them. So I don't. I got to hear your thoughts on this, and we are going to indeed get into more on we're gonna check out more clips on this story, but it's just sad because I have sympathy. I'm in the middle. I have it, and then some part of me is like, but there were other things you could have tried, right? So let's get into more, okay? Was there something here? Yeah, 2 children were living with their family out of a van, and are believed to have died from hypothermia after spending the night in the Detroit casino. Let's check this out.
All around tragic situation. A 2-year-old and a 9-year-old losing their lives, freezing to death. And so tonight, local organizations are speaking out, reminding the community there is help out there.
So as we know, we've had quite a few cold snaps, and it's very dangerous. People, you can't sustain being outside in these type of, cold temperatures. So that's why it's very important that people know that they can come get a meal, they can get a place over their heads, they can get warm.
It's a reminder from organizations like Detroit.
I'm sorry. I feel like that is bogus. My personal, because I do believe that they have a cutoff time, right? In addition to having a cutoff time, your facilities are likely limited with how many people you can take. And my question is whether or not that woman showed up to those facilities seeking help and you guys were likely limited and maxed out. And honestly, for me, a little bit, aside from just the mom and what happened, to her and her children, it's more so you guys irritate me. Y'all build up all of these apartments. Oh, like I steady see apartments going up left and right in Georgia, left and motherfucking right. People ain't even got money like that, and y'all throwing them bitches up left and right, but not coming up with no type of strategies, no type of money to be able to help with some of the homelessness and getting these people back on their fucking feet. Child, that I just, girl. Let's keep going though.
Rescue Mission Ministries and the city of Detroit.
We continue to try to provide as many resources as possible, really just to try to prevent situations like this.
In the wake of unthinkable tragedy, police say a car full of 5 children pulled into this Hollywood casino hotel parking lot around 1 a.m. Monday, a place to sleep for the homeless family. But by the next morning, the car had run out of gas, and by noon, the family discovered the worst.
The mother inside the van, along with 5 children, noticed that one of the children wasn't breathing. And she called family to come help, to convey to Children's Hospital.
A 9-year-old little boy found to be not breathing. Then later, a family member also finding that a 2-year-old little girl also not breathing. Both of the children believed to have frozen to death. Temperatures around 10 degrees in the city overnight.
Does your heart just go out as a mother?
It really does, because at a point in time, that was me and my children. We were in a car at one time.
Shalisa Williams is a mother of 5 as well and stays here at the Detroit Rescue Mission located on Gratiot from time to time. She lost her job in 2023 and says she sees herself in that mom, in that family that had nowhere else to go. And she encourages other families to seek help if they need it so this does not happen again.
I have a 1-year-old and I couldn't imagine.
Meanwhile, the mother has been detained, and as tragic as this situation is, police say this will be investigated criminally. Now, if you or anyone you know need help or assistance, we have a list of resources for you. That's at wxyz.com.
Now, let me say this, okay? And I have to be real honest. And I hope this don't come off too mean, honey, but what I will say is, listen, if you're struggling to take care of the 1 or 2, 3 that you got, BITCH, don't have no more fucking kids. Do not do that. Now, granted, maybe you had a job though, right? Maybe you had a job and that job was helping you maintain, and maybe the dad was around at that time when you had 1 or 2 kids, maybe even 3, and you both were doing good. Sometimes things change, but with those things changing, I just think you probably should have been a bit more mindful and not have any more kids, right? Like this woman says she lost her job in 2023, but then she also goes on to say that she has a 1-year-old, and it's like, have you found work? I would think that you have, but you just had another kid after you already had 4. No, ma'am. Okay. At some point, we're going to have to draw the line. Draw the line. Draw the fucking line. And my purse, like, girl, like, you're going to have to. Child, I can't. But that's one. And let us get into one more part of this story.
A grieving mother trying to cope with a heartbreaking family tragedy is speaking out tonight to 7 News Detroit. She had been living in a van parked at the Hollywood Casino parking garage with her 4 children when the unthinkable happened. 2 of them died from what appears to be hypothermia. 7 News Detroit reporter Brett Cass telling us the mom says she tried to get help for her homeless family, but no one answered the call until it was too late.
I lost the one who made me a mother. I lost a 2-year-old. I'm dying inside. It hurt. I feel like my heart is breaking. And I have 2 more kids to live for.
It's been a long journey for Tatiana Williams with an even tougher battle ahead. She spent the last 3 months living in a van with her children.
And I regret having to sleep out there so bad. I tell them I'm sorry, but I tried. I tried to keep hotels. I tried to pay people to stay there. It wasn't working for me.
Okay, this is what I do have a question with. I'm going to be honest with you, ma'am, okay? It's 2 things here. It's 2 things. One, how are you paying people to stay somewhere if you already ain't got no money? What were you giving them? How were you going to pay them? You tried to pay people. Maybe that was in the past when you had a little something. Try to pay them in what way? 2, you're very emotional, but the tears are not coming out. You're giving crying faces, but the tears are not coming out. And I feel like the people are going to chew you down. Okay? I do. I think as much as they have a little bit of sympathy for your situation, I think also they're like, you don't seem to be as sorry or as sad because the tears are not falling. Okay? So I don't know, ma'am. This is interesting.
1 a.m. on Monday morning, they parked at the Hollywood Greektown Casino parking garage in below freezing temps. Overnight, the car ran out of gas, and the next day, her 9-year-old son was not breathing.
I tried to give him CPR, and I was just giving him CPR. I just kept saying, Petty, don't leave me. Don't leave me, please.
After a friend helped take him to the hospital, her 2-year-old daughter was also found unresponsive. Both were later pronounced dead from what appears to be hypothermia.
She didn't even get to live her life. She didn't get to do nothing. She lost her life because I had to sleep in the car.
In a press conference, the mayor and city leaders confirmed that Tatiana did call the city's homeless response team back in November, but nothing ever came of it.
At least as far as we've been able to determine so far, the family never called back again for service. And as far as we've been able to tell, our homeless staff never proactively reached out to say, what happened with your situation? Was it resolved?
Mayor Duggan is now...
Now, I will say when he brought that up, because I'm like, girl, we in February now, my love. That's November. You like 2-3 months out. You should have kept calling them, kept getting on the line with them. Honestly, if you really need to be somewhere. But honestly, here's the other part. We don't know if someone opened their home up to this woman and her kids. They could have opened their home up to her for the months of December, January, and she could have been back out on the streets February, because that's all the time they had to give to her. Possibly that resulted back into this same situation and the death of her children. So that's possible, but I also appreciate the mayor also highlighting that their staff didn't do any follow-ups to check in to see if their situation has changed. How can we accommodate you? Do you have all of the resources? We may not have space here, but we could give you another list of resources that could provide you with food or whatever the case is. All right. I can appreciate that part.
Now calling for a review of the city's homeless services, while Tatiana is now in a shelter and her kids are with relatives.
It took my 2 kids to die for y'all to help me.
And that's the other part. They're saying that she's in a shelter, but her other kids are with family. What family are they with? Is my question. And they're with family, but where was the family at when she needed to stay there? When she needed a place to stay? Now y'all can watch the kids or something? What was the parameters around that?
It just don't work like that. It hurt losing 2 kids in one night. I don't wish this on nobody. And if you can get help, please go get help. Because I don't want nobody else to go through what I'm feeling.
And the new McFall Brothers Funeral Home here in Detroit is providing funeral services for these children free of charge to the family. Now, if you are homeless or on the verge of homelessness, you can call 866-313-2520. We also have more resources listed on our website, wxyz.com.
All right, so that's what the story is, you guys. Now, it was stated that she was going to be arrested, but from what I'm looking at, I'm not necessarily seeing where this woman, um, well, let me make sure. Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm not seeing where she is actually arrested. Okay, so I don't think they arrested her because I did see that on a blog post, but I haven't seen any news reporting saying that this woman was actually arrested. But you guys let me know in the comments if you feel like she should be arrested or if she should not be arrested. um I don't think that she should be. Just a little piece as I'm thinking about this, listening to everything. I feel like it's an unfortunate situation. She didn't have housing. It wasn't like she was trying to kill her kids or starve them or something like that. She was homeless and she had them sitting in the car and the car ran out of gas. So, unfortunately, the kids, they froze to death and it's just really sad. And I don't think she should fully have to suffer as far as being arrested for that. But y'all sound off in the comments because you might feel completely different. Like, Jami, she had a duty, she had a responsibility, she was out of line, she was wrong. Arrest her. Leave it down below in the comments, okay? And another story we are going to get into, and again, this is a trigger warning for a few of you guys, maybe all of you all, actually. We have this woman here who goes by the name of Laura Karen, from my understanding, out in New Jersey. And what we're learning is that, and this is interesting too, because they're saying that, let's see, give me 1 second. All right, guys. So Laura Karen. So Laura Karen is a teacher that essayed a student. The student was, I believe, about maybe 11 when she first started, and she ended up getting pregnant by the student when the student was 13. And from my understanding, the student may have stayed with her for a bit of time, and that's when things began, when she began to, violate this young man, and it leading to her getting pregnant. And it's crazy because she is being charged, okay, of essaying him. They're saying it happened over the span of like 4 years or something like that. And the student, which is weird, does not fully want her to be arrested. But let me get into this real quick. Her name is Laura Karen, and they're saying that she was a 5th grade teacher at a Middle Township Elementary School. They said she's accused of engaging in a sexual relationship with one of her students. Investigators said the SA began in 2016 when the student was around the age of 11. The student was living at Karen's home at the time and at times would wake up in Karen's bed. Investigators said in an affidavit of probable cause. They also said that she continued to essay the student until 2020 when the victim was 14 or 15. So that would be after she's had, I guess, the child. The investigation into the essay began in December after the alleged victim's father posted on Facebook that Karen's 5-year-old child looks similar to him and his son. Child, that is some crazy stuff. Now, get this. Get this, all right? They're saying the teen insists that Laura Karen should not be facing charges in hopes that they will someday be a family. They need to drop all charges, says the teen, who is now 19. I wasn't groomed or AR'd or manipulated by her. She never initiated anything. Do you hear that's what the baby said? Goes on to say, I started everything. If it was up to me, she wouldn't have been in jail. It's been 6 or 7 years, and I'm 19, about to be 20. Now, prosecutors disagree and have charged the 34-year-old teacher with aggravated SA, and endangering the welfare of a child. She faces more than 10 years behind bars. The legal age of consent in New Jersey is 16. So a lot of us, I told y'all, a lot of us think that it's 18, but different states have different things, okay? They're saying it is also illegal for teachers or anyone with the duty of care over children to have sex with minors of any age. Out of order, out of line. In the jail cell you go, ma'am. Okay. They go on to say that Karen was a 5th grade teacher. We got into all of that. She was in her late 20s when she gave birth in 2019. Now, we are going to get into another story. Y'all know I love me some law and crime. So we're going to check them out because they are going to give us a bit more on this story. So let us get into it.
34-year-old Laura Karen was a 5th grade teacher at Middle Township Elementary School out in New Jersey when she was arrested last week for child sex crimes. Prosecutors say she raped a student from 2016 to 2020, starting when he was just 11 years old. But here's where the case takes an even more disgusting and disturbing turn, because in 2019, when the victim was 13, Karen allegedly gave birth to his child. She was 28 at the time. So how did authorities uncover this? How did they find out about this alleged abuse?
And let's pause this, okay? The person that they're blurring out, I don't believe is the individual they're speaking of, because it is being alleged that the young boy that she had a child with is a black one. How this young boy came to live with this woman, I don't know. But I might need to have my ears to this trial to hear how the fuck did this start? How the fuck did this happen? Where the fuck was his dad? The dad that came to the front to say, oh, your kid looks similar to me and my son.
This is different. So it all started with a social media post, apparently, because it's being reported that in December of 2024, the victim's father made a Facebook post pointing out that Karen's 5-year-old child bore a striking resemblance to both himself and his son, the alleged victim in this case. This post apparently raised a lot of red flags and sparked an investigation. We have a lot to get into. I want to talk about this more. I want to bring on former prosecutor and current sexual misconduct investigator Dan Shore, who's also...
So I'm actually going to pause it there, okay? Just want to pause it there because I only wanted to get just the tidbits, okay, to see if there was anything extra that they had to say. So you guys have all of the deets, all right? You have all of the deets. Miss Ma'am was out of line. She has mothered a child, gave birth to a child that is with a young boy who's now about to be 20 years of age and doesn't want her to be locked up at all, because to him, he doesn't think that he was groomed at all, okay? He doesn't think that he was groomed. He doesn't think that she honored him. He says that it's all his fault, and I just don't know if he is fully aware of what really happened to him at that age. For you to be trying to come on to this grown person or whatever the case was, and at the end of the day, whether you did lead in, initiate, try to do something, because you do have some kids that may move quicker than others. At the end of the day, this is an adult woman who 1000% knew right from wrong. All right. You weren't even fully developed for some stuff like that to be going on. Okay. And then she's serving as a parent figure, as a teacher in some fashion. She was out of order. And I'm sorry, as much as you might want to be with her, the lady's going to jail, period. Okay. Now, there was another story about like this, like from years ago. And I do believe the woman, the teacher that violated that young guy, went to jail, and they ended up still being a family later on. I can't remember their names. I know you guys do. Leave them in the comments. But I think they ended up being a family and went on to have multiple children after that. Matter of fact, I think she may have gotten pregnant by that man multiple times. But I do believe the woman may have served jail time, and they still ended up being together after that. So, child, it's a mess. It's disgusting. But I wanted to come and give you guys a different video than what we have been getting into lately. All right. So you guys can leave your thoughts and comments down below about everything that I talked about on today. I'm Jami. That's me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share my videos. You can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at JamiThatsMe. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
Tell him I preach to the choir. Stand on my feet to the fire. Give all the glory to God. Stand in the midst of these haters. I'm silent. Nobody can stop me. Just gotta check in my notification. Them numbers hit like it's a proxy. Cash died at the ATM. And the ATL, they done made a gym. I've been kicking doors like the ATL. Got them trying to clone me like ages. Game time, I invaded gym. High elevated, I could face the rim. Putting shots up. I got laser focus, about to take it over. I'm Invader Zim. On a trip to Florida like it's A&M. Who that nigga, man? They say I'm him. Spit the truth, never wasting film. I can feel it.